I think the more stories like this that we can, bring to public light, the more support we give to the people everywhere who are, fighting to improve their societies.
I'm journalist and author Mariana Atencio, and today for HBO's Culture Closeup, I have the pleasure of speaking with Francisco Goldman, author of the book that inspired the new HBO documentary, The Art of Political Murder. Francisco, thank you so much for joining me. For those who don't know, tell us a bit about who you are and your connection to this documentary.
First, hi Mariana, it's good to be here. I'm Francisco. I wrote the book. When the murder of Bishop Gerardi happened in 1998, it was such a incredibly mysterious event. I took an assignment to go and write about the case, and that one article turned into an obsession.
Tell us about the title. Why is it called The Art of Political Murder?
The investigation was dramatic and so successful because of the extraordinary qualities of the people who are involved in it. They really have to build their case brick by brick, and those bricks are pieces of evidence. And so as a storyteller, I was incredibly fascinated by that process. That's why it's The Art of Political Murder. They designed a crime, all of these the dramatics, almost soap telenovela-like scandals would distract people from the reality of the report, which is what in fact happened.
Tell us about the figure of the bishop himself. What was he doing that got him killed? And then also you had, in the same region, the assassination of Archbishop Romero in El Salvador in 1980. So what was the impact of history repeating itself 18 years later in the same region?
During the 1980s, I was especially present in Guatemala doing a freelance journalism on the Civil War there. And so Bishop Gerardi believed that you could not have peace, you could not go forward and build a working democracy without some degree of justice. These communities that had been traumatized into silence and suspicion and just the horrible loneliness of having endured that kind of terror without any recourse to any kind of justice, they told their stories. And this resulted in a phenomenal 4-volume report into the crimes of the war. And it kind of changed the game because you can give yourself an amnesty, for whatever crimes might have been committed in the war, but nobody can give themselves an amnesty for crimes against humanity. Bishop Gerardi presented the Remy Report on April 24th, 1998, in a ceremony in the National Cathedral, and he was murdered just 2 nights later on April 26th. Many people in Guatemala realized the system was so corrupt. Government will go to any length to preserve their own power, even kill anybody they have to kill in order to keep that power.
Tell me about, if you look at the division that exists in the United States right now, why should people here watch this documentary about the struggle for reconciliation in Guatemala?
I'm really just amazed at how relevant this story is. This is a story about misinformation and falsehoods versus, facts and truth. That's what the Gerardi case is really about. And I think we all understand how that speaks to the current situation in the United States.
How did the fight for justice and what ultimately came about afford them any sort of healing?
What does justice do? It recognizes your human dignity. It recognizes your pain. These people did this to me and they should be held accountable. That's so liberating. And I think the one question is to ask, what does the denial of justice do? The kind of darkness you're condemning people to, of telling people what you went through will never be acknowledged. It won't be recognized. And what the documentary does so incredibly well was focusing on that human story. The reason the Bishop Gerardi case made history, led to the first ever convictions of military officers, was because these people came together. If that crime had happened at another time, and you have a different group of people, who are occupying these different posts, it doesn't work out that way. This was just an extraordinarily talented group of people. To me, this is all about how human beings react in a dangerous situation. And what makes this story so rare is that it shows people who came together. Humans can pull off incredible things.